Good morning, everyone. Michael here at my Crooked Road Homestead. Hope everybody's getting along fine today. Pretty day out. Had rain earlier this morning. Enjoyed the heck out of it. Everything kind of starting to dry out. Maybe we need a little rain, get things green back up again. Well, a lot's happened to me since my last video on showing how I built these cages and everything. Number one to start with is my babies that I hatched out. I put 16 eggs in my incubator, and anyway, they hatched out. I hatched 11 birds out. Had to hand peel some of them out of their eggs, but anyway, that's another story. And I made other videos of this before, but I've made several, but I didn't know. I just wanted to make this one and get it on, and I'll explain it all instead of trying to put it on in 2 or 3 videos of what's transpired. But anyhow, in here, if you'll look in this pen right here, these are my new baby chicks, and they're going on 2 weeks old. And I brought them out here this morning. This is the first time that they've been out of their brooder, and they're all feathered out good. They're getting along great. But anyway, I had these 5 birds left, and these are feral quail. These came out of these birds down here. If you can see in here, you know, I used to have a hen in each one of these pens, in these 3 pens. I used to have a hen. Still got one hen, but I lost this hen in this pen, and the hen down there on the end, I lost them. And what happened was, they got down in these egg trays. I put these covers on these egg trays, and a friend of mine had snake problems, and I got to looking at these, and I said, well, snakes could crawl up in there. So I went ahead and I put tops on them, their doors, and you have to take these waters off, and these will flip up. But anyway, the 2 hens, they got down in these egg trays, and that's where I found them. They were both dead. And that's how this all began 2 weeks ago. That's the first 2 birds I lost. So anyway, I got to thinking, well, there's got to be a way that I can fix this where they can't get down into the egg trays. So what I did was, if you look on each one of these pens, they now have this corrugated plastic on the front of them. And if a hen lays an egg, all I have to do is take that water off, and that'll flip up, and the egg will roll on down into the tray. But the birds can't get in the egg trays anymore. I fixed that problem. So I had that problem solved. Now, you see these birds in these pens that have the lids on the top of the waters. These birds here, there's 5 pens of them. There's 11 birds there. Well, it'll be 2 weeks ago, this coming Saturday, I went and I bought 10 jumbo quail birds, not these feral birds, but these are jumbos. And these birds here they're 4 weeks old. Or that's what he says they are. But if you'll look at these birds right here, now this bird right here, now she's supposedly 4 weeks old. This bird right here that I'm pointing at, this feral male right here, you look at them together. And this jumbo bird's already bigger than that bird there. And I used to think that these feral birds were big until I got these birds. And like I said, they're supposed to be, when I got them, they were supposed to be 3 weeks old. So, and this coming Saturday, will be 2 weeks that I've had them. So, but anyway, I brought these birds home. I brought the 10 birds home. And like I already told you, I lost those 2 hens in those egg trays. I lost them, and I brought these 10 birds home, and I put them in this pen that I built over here, where I've got these chicks now. I put the 10 birds in there, and I had the water in there, I had feed in there and everything. And I left with a friend of mine, and we went and did some running around. I got home about 5:30, 6 o'clock, and came to check on them. And I looked in this pen, and 7 of the 10 birds was dead in this pen. And I couldn't figure what the heck, you know. I'd already lost these 2 over here in the egg trays. Now I lost 7 more birds. So from Wednesday to Saturday, I lost 9 birds. And that's not including out of my hatch that I had. I hatched out 11 birds out of 16 eggs. I hatched out 11 birds. And anyway, I ended up with 5, so that's 6 more birds that didn't make it. So you got 7 and 2 is 9 and 6, that's 15 birds that I lost within a 5-day period, 6-day period, I don't know. But anyway, it's about to drive me bonkers. So anyway, I got a hold of the gentleman that I bought these jumbo birds from. His name's Mark. Super nice guy. Can't say anything bad about him. He's just super guy. So anyway, I'd made a video of what had transpired as far as the birds dying in this pen here. And anyway, he looked at the video that I made, and he said, well, Michael, that's a real nice pen, but I can tell you why your birds died. And I said, well, if you can, I'd like to know. I said, is it something I did? And he said, no, it's just something that you didn't do. And I said, well, what's that? He said, well, if you'll look, you'll see that your water is on the outside of your pen. And the birds didn't know where the water was. He said, when you bring birds home and put them, especially when you got the waters on the outside, you got to stick their heads in the water. Well, being new to raising these birds, I didn't know about it. So anyway, when I brought these, and I'd lost 7 of them, so when he gave me the new birds, he gave me an extra bird, so he gave me 8 birds. So instead of having 10 jumbos, now I've got 11. And I'm just so happy. But what I was going to tell you was, when I brought these birds home, I left them in my car, my air conditioning running in my car, and I went in, and that water that's in here, I went and cut it out, and I put it in there. And when I took these birds out of my carrying cooler that I use, I stuck their heads in that water, every one of them. I baptized every one of those birds. So, and so far I haven't lost a one of them. And I'm really happy. But, you know, there for a couple of days, I couldn't figure out what the heck I was doing, you know, what I was doing wrong. Since I lost all these birds and everything, I haven't had any more mishaps. And since I got these plastic pieces added in there to where they can't get down into those egg trays and stuff, I don't think I'm going to lose any more of my birds. But I was down to 3 birds, and now I'm back up to 20 birds. I was going, gosh, you know, you go from feast to famine back to feast, you know, very, very quickly. So anyway, but that's pretty much the story on it, and I'm glad that it's pretty well done. Like I said, these baby chicks, I brought them out of their brooder this morning. This is the first time that they've ever been in anything this big. they really don't know what to think about it, and I sure hope they make it all right. But anyway, that's kind of my story on my birds, and I'm glad that that they're all surviving and they're doing well. I know my pens are really working out good, and I'm happy about that. I just wish that I'd have known about putting those tops on those egg trays, because I was trying to keep snakes out of there and whatever else could maybe get in there. So thought I was benefiting them, but I ended up killing two of them by accident. But I don't know, that I guess that's the way people learn. You learn by your mistakes, but I sure hate for them to be costly ones like those were. So anyway, well, I'm going to get off here. Before I do, well, I'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe and give me a thumbs up. And y'all have a blessed day, and I'll see you on my next video. Okay, bye.